All right, everyone, grab those ugly Christmas sweaters, your Santa hats, your jingle bells, because we are about to get festive. Hello, beautiful friends. My name is Brittany. This is Rescues and Reads. Welcome back or welcome to the channel. I'm so glad this video found you. Today it is time to do the annual video where I discuss all of the holiday romances that are coming out in 2025. And I know what y'all might be thinking. You're like, Brittany, it's only September. Why on earth are you talking about Christmas romances? Well, my friends, you might be surprised to know that all of the holiday romances that I'm aware of are actually all coming out prior to the end of October. And in fact, as of the filming of this video, some of these holiday romances are already released. So just like you are already seeing Christmas decorations come out in stores, you are also seeing holiday romances hit the shelves. And even though I personally am not a big romance person, and I'm definitely not a big holiday romance person, I do like to make this video for all of you holiday romance people out there who might want to be aware of what is going to be coming out so you can keep it on your radar. I know a lot of people really love spending the holiday season reading these types of cozy holiday romances, and I just like to see what is out there as well. Now, just a disclaimer, as I usually do, like say within my book of the month prediction videos, I will be reading the synopses of each of these books, even though I know they're probably going to be very similar in plot and synopses, right? But I like to do this for y'all so you don't have to take the time to go out and Google the books and read the synopses yourself. I know a lot of people don't really like it when content creators actually read the synopsis of the book to you, but I just kind of like to do it because I'm here, I'm already talking about the book, and this is a lot easier for me than having to try to remember the synopses of all these books and trying to summarize them for you on the fly. So you might want to grab a snack or grab a drink because I think I have like 26 or 27 holiday romances to talk with you about, so this could potentially be a long one. Now I'm going to go ahead and quickly run through all of the books that will have already been released by the time that you are seeing this video, which I believe is going to go up on September 10th, and then I will go ahead and talk about them by release date. So the first one that I have here is one that was released on September 2nd. It is the newest release from Jenny Baird. She's a pretty popular author that I feel like tends to come out with holiday romances every single year. This is a book that is called All In for Christmas. Practical-minded Paige has her life in order. She's got a job she loves, teaching English, and is launching a new pause and read literacy program for struggling students at her school. Despite her dismal dating record, Paige rarely thinks about her old college boyfriend, Dean Burton. Then, Dreamy Dean surprises her at her school's faculty holiday party. When she learns Dean's been hired as their replacement physics teacher, Paige can't help getting stars in her eyes and wondering what her life might have been if they'd never said goodbye. With a rare comet passing overhead and the aid of a mysterious holiday market vendor, the universe grants Paige a chance to find out. The next morning, she wakes up in an alternate reality greeted by Dean's sunny optimism. There are 2 kids and a dog. Suddenly, in way over her head with myriad household chores, a precocious little girl and a toddler boy who's potty training, Paige is desperate to scramble her way back home until her heart starts melting under the mistletoe due to Dean's swoony kisses and the cute shenanigans of their sweet kids and loyal pup, and she finds herself questioning where her home is truly meant to be. Yet the enchantment that's brought her here won't last forever. So we have a little bit of a sliding doors trope here, right? You have somebody who is like reconnecting with somebody that she was dating many, many years ago, and she's wondering what her life might have been like if they had proceeded with their relationship. And so she's kind of getting a glimpse of that, and she has to decide where she really truly wants her life to be. I always love the concept of a good sliding doors romance, so this one seems like it could be really, really cute. In fact, all of these, for the most part, are going to sound like they're going to be really, really cute. Another one that should already be released at this point is a book called A Merry Irish Christmas by Clodagh Murphy. This says, Mary McBride hasn't told her family that she's coming home for Christmas. After breaking up with her boyfriend just before the holidays, she decides to surprise them and get a last-minute flight home. But when she arrives in Ireland after a long journey, she discovers her family have had the same idea and have gone to New York to surprise her. To make matters infinitely worse, they've done a house swap with grumpy but sexy New Yorker Evan, who makes it clear he doesn't want her or her Christmas cheer around. Mary's determined to keep the festive spirit alive, so she proposes that she and Evan each get one day where the other has to do things their way. But can Evan put aside his grouchiness to embrace a proper Irish Christmas? And how will Mary cope with a day of sulking and moody walks on the beach? One thing's certain, as the temperature drops outside, things start to heat up inside the McBride house. Maybe it'll be a Merry Christmas after all. Okay, so I really like the sound of that, right? You have a woman who is going to surprise her family by flying home to Ireland for Christmas. They had the same idea and they flew to New York to surprise her. And in the meantime, they are renting out their house for the holidays to a grumpy New Yorker. And so she's there cohabitating with this person that she doesn't know. And it sounds like it's going to be like a grumpy sunshine type of romance. And y'all know how I feel about that trope. That is one of my favorite romance tropes when I do read romance. So I just thought that this one sounded quite lovely. And I mean, come on, a Christmas spent in Ireland. Who would not love a Christmas spent in Ireland? So this one was definitely on my radar. Like, should I want to pick up up a holiday romance, this is definitely at the top of the list for sure. And I believe this one is going to be the last one that is already released at the time of filming this video. It is a book called Winter Nights at the Bay Bookshop by Jessica Redlin. Nestled amongst the comforting shelves of her beloved Bay books, newly single Lily Appleton finds the peace and quiet she needs. But with Christmas just around the corner, Lily has to find an extra pair of hands to help her share the bookish magic. After selling his business, Lars Johansson is feeling like a character in a book awaiting his next plot twist. A job at Bay Books would give him the space he needs to contemplate his next move. He has fond memories of the bookshop in the Bay, but returning there would mean confronting a painful past he's been avoiding. It would also mean working with Lily, and he's fairly sure he's the one person she never wants to see again. When Lily spots Lars's job application, she's torn. Lars could be the perfect fit for the Bay Books, but the boy she thought she knew rejected her friendship many years ago, and the hurt still lingers. With time ticking, Lily has no option but to take a chance on Lars, hoping his unexpected application turns out to be for the best. Working together, Lily discovers a vulnerability that Lars has kept hidden away, along with a few surprising secrets. As the Christmas season sprinkles its magic, Lily discovers the warmth of renewed friendship and the joy of heartwarming traditions from Lars's Icelandic roots. And perhaps surrounded by the quiet magic of the season and the soft glow of festive lights, there's the possibility of finding a love as enchanting as the northern lights on a winter's night. So this is another one that really grabs my attention because, I mean, first of all, it's going to be set in a bookshop, right? There is nothing more magical than a bookshop or even a bookshop at Christmas. And it sounds like this is also going to be somewhat of a second chance, maybe not romance, but like it seems like they were going to be friends, but he rejected her and now he's coming back into her life and they're going to have something else. I don't know. It just sounds really, really wholesome and charming and like just exactly what you would want during the holiday season. Very, very hallmarky, right? You know what I mean? So this is another one that is certainly on my radar. If I am in the mood for a good holiday romance, this might very well be one that I am tempted to pick up. All right, now we are going to move on, starting with the releases that are coming out on September 16th. Now this first one I'm only going to briefly mention because I do believe it is book 5 in a series of companion novels, so I don't necessarily think you need to read these in any type of order, but just in case, I don't want to risk any spoilers. This is going to be the newest release from Laurie Gilmore and it's called The Gingerbread Bakery. Now Laurie Gilmore has been going around because she's written books like The Pumpkin Spice Cafe and she's very, very well known for like her cozy or romances, and this is going to be the new addition to that. This line just says, The Gingerbread Bakery is a cozy romantic novel with an enemies to lovers dynamic, small town setting, and a happily ever after guaranteed. And those are two things that I really, really like, right? I really love enemies to lovers and I really like a small town romance. I am not a big fan of cozy romances. I haven't heard the best thing about Laurie Gilmore's books, but I do know that a lot of people really, really enjoy them. And so if you are a fan of the series, this might definitely be one that you want to pick up for Christmas. And the last one that I have here coming out on September 16th is a book called Holly and Nick Hate Christmas by Betsy St. Amant. Holly Sinclair has hated Christmas for as long as she can remember. Who names their Christmas baby Holly in the first place? She was teased mercilessly growing up. Holly Berry, Holly Days, Holly Jolly, not to mention the fact that her birthday is often totally overlooked amidst the season. To make matters worse, instead of getting the promotion she was expecting, Holly's been downsized, which is just fancy holiday talk for fired. Now Holly has to go home single, unemployed, turning 30, and only a tinsel strand of faith. Bah humbug. Holly's big brother Ryan has dragged his best friend, known holiday hater Nick Kinsley, home with him, but when Holly discovers that Nick's here to be her pity date, she decides the best revenge is to play along. And Christmas like she's never Christmas before. Commence Operation Naughty List. The fact that she's attracted to Nick is totally not the point. She'll teach him a lesson, one ho 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 at a time. The holiday grows more complicated when Holly and Ryan find out their parents asked all the siblings to come home for Christmas this year, but refused to say why. The rest of the Sinclair siblings descend, each with their own sleigh full of secrets. Rumors spread as everyone tries to guess the reason for their parents' demand, and Nick turns out to have a secret of his own. Will this be a Christmas to forget, or will Holly and Nick discover there is so much more? Again, I'm really intrigued by this for a few reasons, right? Because you have two people who are really not in the Christmas spirit. They are kind of thrown together as pity dates for each other, and Holly is going to decide to take advantage of this. But also in the background, there's also going to be these family dynamics because Holly and Ryan's parents have asked all of the siblings to come home for a very specific reason. So it sounds like there's going to be some news that is breaking in this family. All of the siblings have their own things going on. So it sounds like we are going to touch upon that. It also sounds like it could get a little bit complicated and a little bit messy if all of these siblings have a space in the story and we're trying to follow each of their individual stories. I'm not entirely sure, but it definitely sounds like there's going to be a lot of drama involved in this. So again, another really intriguing one. This is a little bit different than some of the other synopses that I've read of these holiday romances. So this one sounds like it could be a good one to pick up. All right, moving on into September 23rd, we have the newest release from Jenny Bayliss. Now, Jenny Bayliss is a very, very well-known author in the holiday romance sphere. I do believe that she has one Christmas book come out every single year. This one is called I'll Be Home for Christmas. Fred Hellowheart isn't in love with the idea of returning home to Pine Bluff, but after a bad breakup and a subsequent eviction, she's fresh out of options. God knows she loves her mom and her eccentric aunts, and who could forget their Christmas cracker family business, but she's always felt a little out of place in her small town. Quickly roped in by her mother to help with the cracker shop, Fred decides throwing herself into work might actually be what's best for her, until she reconnects with her old best friend Ryan, who is suddenly making her heart flutter in ways she's never known, and unexpectedly finds a spark with Warren, a charming journalist covering the Pine Bluff Christmas market for the Daily News. But as these connections slowly lead Fred back to her heart, she's forced to confront some harsh truths, which, if she doesn't find a way through, might just ruin the holidays for those dearest to her. Can Fred let go of the past enough to recognize real love? And when she does, how far will she go to protect it? So if I'm gauging this right, it sounds like this could be a little bit of a love triangle. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. I don't love triangles in general, but I'm not necessarily sure I want that mess in a Christmas holiday romance. But again, Jenny Bayless, very well-loved, well-trusted in the holiday romance sphere, and so I know that this one is going to be on a lot of people's radar. Also on the 23rd, we have another speculative holiday romance called A Spell for Midwinter's Heart by Morgan Lockhart. Rowan Midwinter has sworn off magic after a spell gone wrong back in high school, so she's not exactly thrilled when she's guilted into returning to her quaint mountain hometown for the holiday season. But it's already Yule and much needed snow still hasn't fallen, so Rowan decides she can put up with her former coven and unwanted memories if it means saving the town's beloved winter festival from the mega corporation threatening to buy it out. But Rowan's plans to save the beloved tradition and make it through the holiday magic free go awry when Gavin McCreary, prodigal son of the festival's landlord, insists on helping, and their unwanted chemistry keeps setting off holiday lights, literally. As the end of the festive season draws closer and Rowan realizes what is truly at stake, she must reconnect with what she tried to leave behind, overcome the fear of her power, and let her heart lead the way. That synopsis is not doing too terribly much for me. It doesn't sound very special, but it does sound like there is going to be a literal holiday magic at play here, and it definitely sounded like something a lot of people could really enjoy during this time of year. All right, this next one, it sounds like it could be a sports holiday romance. It's called You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Sophie Sullivan. Maisie Smart doesn't look back, not on the choice she made to be a photographer and not on the one-night stand she had 6 months ago, but sleeping with a professional hockey player who bolted the morning after is a whole new level of embarrassing. Now she's about to spend the week at Tickletree Farms with her family this Christmas, and then the universe throws a Grinch in her festive plans. Nick King is a mess. After a significant injury benches him, he has more time to dwell on his anxieties and the one-night stand he can't get out of his head. With the holidays around the corner, he figures visiting his sister and nephew at their Christmas tree farm will be a good way to sort himself out. That's impossible when he learns Maisie is there. She's beautiful and justifiably angry about the way he left. But Christmas is the time for second chances, and the forced proximity may help Nick and Maisie unwrap feelings neither of them can walk away from twice. So we have a couple of really well-loved tropes here, right? It definitely sounds like there is going to be that forced proximity. We have a Christmas love story that is set on a Christmas tree farm, and I think that's like the absolute perfect setting for a book like this. We have hockey romance, which is currently all the rage going on right now, and we have a little bit of a second chance, maybe not quite so much because all they had before was a one-night stand, but they are reconnecting and are probably going to build something upon that one-night stand that didn't end so well. So this is another one that sounds really sweet, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what people's thoughts and feelings are on all of these holiday romances, because even though I'm not big on them, I might want to tuck away some for the future just in case I am ever in the mood, and this is another one that really grabbed my attention and I could be interested in trying. All right, and then the final one that I have for September 23rd, I am including here because it seems like it's going to be right up the alley for all of the cowboy romance girlies out there, you know, who maybe like Elsie Silver and so on. This is a book called Christmas at the Ranch by Julia McKay. With the holidays around the corner and her father recently imprisoned for financial fraud, disgraced journalist Emery Oakes doesn't know where to turn. She's only certain of one thing: she needs to get away. Fate takes the wheel, leaving her stranded in snowy Evergreen, the picturesque town where she spent her happiest Christmas as a teen, and chronicled every moment in her journal as she fell in love with handsome local Tate Wilder at his family's idyllic horse ranch until it all went wrong. Emery isn't ready to face Tate, but Kismet and Christmas magic have other ideas. As the love they've denied for a decade rekindles, the betrayals that kept them apart resurface, as does Emery's family scandal. Yet Tate Wilder and his ranch feel more like home than anywhere ever has. Will Emery and Tate's alchemy fizzle, or will their Christmas wishes come true? So again, I actually really like the sound of that one, and once again, we have second chance romances. I think second chance romances are really big this time of year because there is a magic of Christmas, right? I think if you are a Christmas lover, nobody can deny there is a distinct magic of Christmas, and I think that this is the time where we kind of overlook things, we forgive people, we are willing to start fresh, we're willing to start anew. Our main character in this has found herself stranded in this town where she fell in love with a cowboy essentially, and they're going to reconnect and try to start over again. And again, the setting, it sounds like it's going to be super atmospheric, and that's what I really love in books like these. I really want that atmosphere. We have small town, we have a ranch, it's going to be Christmas, probably snowy, it's going to be a good time. So I have a feeling that a lot of people could really enjoy this one. All right, and moving on into September 30th, we have another queer holiday romance coming out from Timothy Janofsky called A Mannequin for Christmas. Henry Astor swears he is unlucky when it comes to love. He thought he'd finally found found the one, but a sudden breakup has left him hopeless right before the holiday season. Facing another family Christmas alone, Henry makes a wish for the perfect man. The next morning, when he arrives at the vintage shop he manages, he finds one of the male display mannequins has sprung to life and entirely wrecked the place. The magic man is gorgeous, of course, but he comes with a Cinderella-style caveat. If he doesn't experience true human love before the midnight chime on New Year's Eve, he will turn back into a mannequin for good. Now Henry doesn't have to show up to family Christmas alone. The catch? This new man, self-named Aiden Smith, knows nothing about being human. Henry has 1 month to teach Aiden how to be a functioning person in the modern world and the swoony boyfriend that will win over his family. It's an arduous task that draws them closer together, but can human love ever really be true? So while reading the synopsis of this, did anybody flash back to those 80s movies titled like The Mannequin with, I think it was like Kim Cattrall and Andrew, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name, but he was like a big hit in the 80s. I think he was like in The Breakfast Club and everything like that.
What's the matter? Don't you like a new scarf?
Not especially. What a funny way to say hello.
What the hell's going on?
My name is Emma Ray, but you can call me Emmy.
This is a joke, right?
I remember just like really enjoying those when I was a kid, and I'm sure that they are cheesy AF. That is kind of like the vibe that I'm getting from this story, but it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. And again, I'm really loving the queer representation in this one. So this is one to be on the lookout for sure. Also on the 30th, we have a book called Christmas People by Iva Marie Palmer. Some people are Christmas people, but Jill Jacobs is most certainly not. She hasn't been ever since her hometown love broke her heart on Christmas Eve 3 years ago. After that, Jill moved to LA to pursue her dream of becoming a screenwriter. She hasn't been home in years to avoid her ex, but this winter she finds herself back in drab suburban Illinois for the holidays. After one very hazy night, Jill wakes up to a hometown that's filled with jolly neighbors, covered in pristine white snow and seasoned with the smell of peppermint. She realizes that this is more than just a bad hangover. She's stuck in a heartfelt movie, one set in her town starring real people from her life, including her family, her high school crush, and of course her ex, handsome as ever and now exclusively clad in plaid flannel. The only way out of this bizarro world is to complete the plot of the movie, including a holiday bake-off and a cookie-sweet love story. To get home in time for Christmas, Jill must act out a picture-perfect holiday romance with the one that got away, all while her ex watches on. Fa la la freaking la. Okay, so that one sounds a little bit weird, right? You have a main character who ends up kind of like stuck in a Hallmark type movie, and she has to play along. She has to work out the plot of the movie while also dealing with like her ex and the one that got away and all of this stuff. So that again sounds like a really cute, sweet, fun time. All right, and then the last one that I have for September 30th, I do believe is a Kindle only release, so you can't get it in paperback or hardback, but I did want to mention it for all like the Kindle Unlimited girlies out there who really do enjoy a Christmas romance, because I did enjoy the synopsis of this one as well, and it's only like $3.99 on Kindle, so it's a perfect deal. It's called Happy Christmas, a hilarious holiday marriage of convenience romance by Kelsey Humphreys. So again, right off the bat, we know that there is a very beloved trope with the marriage of convenience in there. To say Janie Rowland is down on her luck would be a Las Vegas-sized understatement, and said luck only gets worse when she's spotted by him while working a booth at the Clark Industries Expo. She has barely tolerated Benedict Clark, yes, as in Clark Industries, around their mutual friends. He's a huge flirt, gorgeous, British, always with an entourage, entirely over the top. She's his total opposite, low-key, craves routine, in bed by 9, has like 3 friends, but he needs a wife before the end of the year, and she desperately needs cash, a lot of it. Their encounter in Sin City leads to a mutually beneficial proposition, a fake marriage in exchange for his family trust and her big payday. She just has to survive one festive season in her tiny holiday-themed hometown, Juniper Falls, pretending to be madly in love. Contests, carriage rides, planned kisses, and cozy photo ops, it's all for show, until it isn't. Because the more he leans in, the more she lets go, and the more this dangerously planned ruse starts to feel dangerously real. So again, a very cute marriage of convenience. We have somebody who has to get married to get their trust fund, but again, it's going to be set like in a small town. She has to convince everybody they're in love, and while they're convincing everybody they're in love, they actually do start to fall in love. Again, cute, sweet, fun time, coming out September 30th on Kindle. All right, moving on into October 7th. This next one that I'm going to talk about is going to be on Kindle and Audible, but I don't believe that it's going to have a physical release. It's a book called A Very Merry Matchup by Becca Kinzer. If there's one thing travel nurse Ivy West prides herself on, it's her matchmaking skills. She's even convinced she knows her own perfect type. A man who, unlike her parents, isn't traveling the country for the sake of a career. It doesn't matter Ivy hasn't met him yet, she's sure she will in a few years. Then Bo Wall, a minor league baseball player with his sights set on the big league, lands in the hospital, and there's an undeniable undeniable spark between them. No need to worry, Ivy will just match him up with her friend Lucy and she won't be tempted to date him herself. A few months later, Ivy is convinced everything's gone perfectly when she hears Lucy's engaged. But when Ivy arrives to spend Christmas in Iowa and celebrate the engagement, there's one little problem. Lucy has set her up. Sure, Lucy's engaged, but not to Beau. And Beau isn't about to lose this unexpected shot at winning Ivy over. Neither are his mom and grandma, who also try to throw the two together. Amid twinkling Christmas lights and hours spent watching holiday movies, Ivy finds herself falling for Beau. Maybe it's time she ditched her plans, because it's looking like Beau might be her perfect match after all. Okay, so we have somewhat of a sports romance going on in here, although I don't necessarily know if sports itself is going to be a huge part of the story, but he is like a minor league baseball player, sights set on the major league, and he wants to win Ivy over, but she's really not interested because she doesn't want to date somebody who is always traveling all over the country. So it also sounds like this is going to be kind of like a he falls first situation and she has to be a one over. So again, if you are interested in this one, I don't believe there's going to be a physical release of this book. It's going to come out on Kindle or Audible on October 7th. Also on October 7th, we have a new release from Rae Ann Thane. Again, she's another very well-known, I believe, like holiday romance, cozy romance writer, and her newest release is called Snow Kiss. Christmas has always been single mom Holly Goodwin Moore's favorite time of the year. The twinkly lights on the tree, the cookies in the oven, the snow on the ground. But she's just not feeling it this year. The wedding in her ex's family is almost here. Her daughter, Lydia, is bursting at the seams to be a flower girl, and Holly couldn't be dreading it more. She told a little white lie about having a new boyfriend as her +1, hoping to save face. She needs a date for the wedding, and she needs it now. Ryan Caldwell wants to be free this holiday season. Okay, so is it me, or is this like the third book that I've talked about with a male MC named Ryan? I didn't realize that Ryan was the name of choice for holiday romances in 2025. That's interesting. Anyway, Ryan Caldwell wants to be free this holiday season. So even he isn't sure how he landed in Shelter Springs looking after his niece Audrey with his estranged father down the road. But when he meets Holly, she makes him want to belong for the very first time. So they make a deal. He'll be her date if she'll help him give Audrey a true Christmas to remember while her mom is away. Again, very, very sweet, very heartwarming, very wholesome. This is certainly what you would be looking for in a holiday romance at this time of year. We also have another new Christmas release from Emily Stone. Yet again, another very well-known, well-loved writer in the holiday romance sphere. This one is called Yours for the Season. Melanie hasn't had a good year. Her work life isn't what she dreamed it would be. Her best friend has moved to the other side of the world, and Finn, the man she was sure was the love of her life, dumped her in front of everyone at his sister's engagement party. So when Finn shows up at Mel's doorstep 2 weeks before Christmas asking if she'll help him, her first instinct is to slam the door in his face or punch him. But he has a proposal for her. Spend the week of Christmas with him and his family in a vacation cottage in the Scottish Highlands. His mother is obsessed with the idea of a perfect Christmas, and to make this dream come true, Finn told his mother that he and Mel are dating again. All Mel has to do is come with him and pretend they're back together. Mel may hate Finn, but she loves his mom, so she agrees on one condition. At the end of the week, Finn will allow Mel to publicly dump him so that she can get her dignity back, and he can experience the same humiliation she felt. It's only 1 week. Mel can pretend to still be in love with Finn for 1 week, except as the festivities bring her closer than ever to Finn and his family, Mel starts to lose track of which feelings are fake and which are for real. So again, we have another second chance situation. Now, my only concern with this one is it sounds like you have a female MC who was really in love with the male MC, and then he just dumped her out of the blue for like no reason, or I'm not sure what the backstory is there, but now he's coming back asking for her help. So like, why did he dump her? Is this something that is redeemable? Can she get over it? Can they feasibly be in a relationship again? Is this something that we are going to want to root for as readers, if that makes sense? That's my only qualm when it comes to second chance romance. I have to believe that the reason they broke up is redeemable. Like maybe they grew and they changed, but it sounds like this was very, very one-sided. Not entirely sure how I feel about it, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this guy lying to his family about his current relationship status and her being used and stuff like that and having to go through this charade to get her dignity back. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the synopsis of this one, but again, Emily Stone, very, very popular. I have enjoyed a release by her in the past, so I'm going to trust that she's going to be able to pull this one off. Yet another very popular holiday romance writer, Sarah Morgan, has a new release coming out on October 7th called A Merry Little Lie. Becky is stranded at the airport, so when she bumps into her brother's best friend Will and he suggests they drive home together, Becky reluctantly agrees. For the first time, Becky is dreading Christmas, and only Will knows why. Her twin sister Rosie married Declan after a whirlwind romance, and now the cracks are starting to appear. Rosie and Declan have agreed to hide their problems from her family, but Rosie's insecurities are growing. Will this Christmas bring them closer or drive them apart? Haley can't wait for her first Balfour family Christmas with Jamie. The Balfour Christmas traditions sound wonderful, but she's worried about her place in this close-knit family. Will there be room for her too? And how will they react to the secret she and Jamie have been keeping? Despite everyone's best intentions, all the chaos and confusion could derail their normally happy holidays. Can they tell each other the truth in time to enjoy a perfect family Christmas? Okay, so this definitely sounds like it's going to be a very character-driven family drama kind of Christmas. I do love me a good family drama at Christmas. I think that is like very relatable to a lot lot of people, if I do say so myself. So this one could be one to keep an eye out for, especially if you enjoy Sarah Morgan. She's a very prolific author, I feel, especially within like the holiday romance, family drama type of area. So definitely keep your eye out for this one if you are a Sarah Morgan fan. All right, moving on into October 14th, we have a new Christmas release from Megan Quinn. Megan Quinn is a very prolific, very well-known romance writer, and I do know that she does occasionally write holiday romance. I believe that she wrote How My Neighbor Stole Christmas last year, and this is the second book in this. I don't know if this is like a duology or if these are just two interconnected standalones, but this says, Atlas Max Maxheimer did not sign up for this. One minute, he's anxiously trying to keep his family's Christmas tree farm from imploding. The next, he's passed out in the snow after getting clocked by a suspiciously strong bottle of soda. Enter Betty, new in town, full of holiday cheer and helping her uncle open a rival tree farm next door. Max is convinced she's out to destroy everything Evergreen Farm stands for. Betty thinks Max might be one sleigh short of a winter parade. Cue the holiday chaos. Between blizzards, blown reputations, wildly misguided romantic plots, and one stolen ornament with a seriously tragic backstory, the small town war turns into something far messier and much more delicious than either of them expected. If you're a big fan of Megan Quinn, if you liked How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, this is definitely one to keep your eye on. All right, friends, I still have many more books to talk to you about. I think I still have like 11 books to talk to you about, and my battery has drained very quickly, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch it out because I know I'm not going to be able to get through these before that battery dies. So BRB. Okay, we're back. So I thought that I was doing really well, just like plowing through these releases, but yeah, I'm only just barely over halfway done and we still have quite a few left to go. So anyway, we are still on October 14th, and yet another very notable romance/holiday romance author is coming out with a new release. It is Jenny Colgan with The Secret Christmas Library. Mirren Sutherland stumbled into a career as an antiquarian book hunter after finding a priceless antique book in her great-aunt's attic. Now, as Christmas approaches, she's been hired by Jamie McKinnon, the surprisingly young and handsome laird of a Highland clan, whose ancestral holdings include a vast crumbling castle. Family lore suggests that the McKinnon family's collection includes a rare book so valuable that it could save the entire estate, if they only knew where it was. Jamie needs Mirren to help him track down this treasure, which he believes is hidden in his own home. But on the train to the Highlands, Mirren runs into rival book hunter Theo Palliser and instantly knows that it's not a chance meeting. She's all too familiar with Theo's good looks and smooth talk and his uncanny ability to appear whenever there's a treasure that needs locating. Almost as soon as Mirren and Theo arrive at the castle, a deep snow blankets the Highlands, cutting off the outside world. Stuck inside, the three of them plot their search as the wind whistles outside. Mirren knows that Jamie's grandfather, the castle's most recent laird, had been a book collector, a hoarder, and a great lover of treasure hunt. Now they must unpuzzle his clues, discovering the secrets of the house, forming and breaking alliances in a race against time. That definitely sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, right? There's going to be a treasure hunt, like a scavenger hunt of sorts. There's going to be clues that they have to follow to find this very rare antique book, and it's kind of like a competition. So if you are a fan of Jenny Colgan, again, she has a new release coming out on October 14th. All right, this next October 14th release is called Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon, and it's written by Matthew Norman. The new year had barely begun when Grace White and Henry Alder both lost their spouses. Now, nearly a year later, the first holiday season since their great and terrible sadness approaches. Although their mothers scheme to matchmake the two surviving spouses, it's clear that neither is ready to date again. Yet no one understands what they are going through better than each other, and a delicate friendship is born. When Henry sees an ad for a Christmas movie marathon, once an annual tradition for him and his wife, Grace offers to watch some films with him, despite her aversion to a few of his picks. Her two young kids, Ian and Bella, also join in whenever possible. With each movie, Grace and Henry's shared grief eases as they start to see a life beyond the sadness, but as they draw closer, other romantic possibilities leave them uncertain about their future together. Is their bond merely the result of loneliness and shared circumstance, or have they found something that's worth taking a shot at again? So I actually really like the sound of this because it's definitely going to be harder hitting. You have two people who have lost their spouses, and it's coming upon the year of their loss. They're still very much grieving, and Henry had a tradition with his wife of watching holiday movies, and Grace is now going to partake in that with him. And it sounds like they are going to form a connection and work through their grief and maybe build something more. And I love the sound of that. I do always love a story that touches upon grief, and I'm interested to see how that's going to be explored here and also how their relationship is going to form together. I also love the idea of the holiday movie marathon. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but my husband and I, from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day, we watch nothing but holiday movies. We have a cup full of popsicle sticks full of all of the holiday movies that we want to watch and any new ones that have released that we are interested in watching, and we pull them out one by one. And when we're done with one, we pull out another. We have a whole veto rule system as well in place, and we just love it. We love a good holiday movie. So I think that this is definitely at the top of my list. I think this one might be one that I could be convinced to pick up in December, just as something a little bit different, because this, out of all of the ones that I've read so far, is the one that certainly intrigues me the most. Okay, so this next release that I'm going to talk about about is actually YA, and y'all know that I don't tend to focus on YA books in general, but this one caught my attention for a few reasons. First of all, it's sapphic, and I don't feel like this year there's been as many queer holiday romances. I feel like last year there was quite a few really intriguing queer holiday romances that came out, but not so much this year. In addition, this is written by a Black author, and so there is that additional representation. Again, I feel like all of the books that I've talked about in this video so far has been very, very white for the most part. And in addition to that, this one is going to be written a little bit more uniquely because it's told from two perspectives. One is told in prose and one is told in verse. So there's a lot of really great things going on in this story. So I felt like it was certainly worth highlighting. This is a book called I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm by Mariana Lockington. High school senior Lyric has always found Christmas to be the hardest season. While other kids got presents and family time by the fire, she was in and out of foster care. An up-and-coming makeup influencer and aspiring cosmetology student who loves a bold lip, Lyric definitely isn't looking for romance. Not when opening up to someone feels a lot like asking to get hurt. Christmas is Juniper's favorite time of year. At least it was until her mom's separation. They're back together now, and Juniper hopes they'll stay that way, because if they're happy, that means Juniper can leave for her gap year trip after graduation. When a chance meeting brings these two opposite personalities together, they should clash. Only they don't. Instead, Lyric strikes a deal with Juniper. Pose as her fake girlfriend in a series of holiday-themed social media posts, and they can split the money from her beauty sponsorships. But soon, the lines between what's real and what's not start to blur. Could it be that sparks are flying both in front of the camera and beyond it? Told from dual perspectives, one in prose and one in verse, I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm is a cozy and modern love story from acclaimed author Mariama J. Lockington that's perfect for the winter holidays or all year round. So again, I just think that that's like really unique, and we have some tropes that we all love to see, right? Like the fake dating and things of that nature. So I really do think that this is one to keep your eye on for sure. And if you thought we were done with the October 14th releases, you would be incorrect, because Jacqueline Snow has a new release coming out on October 14th called Date Night in December. Lainey Reynolds knows there's only one place that can help her heal a broken heart. Cherrywood Creek, the small town where she grew up with its holiday festivals and snow-covered streets, is exactly where she needs to be this December. It feels good to leave the bustling city where her husband was too busy climbing the corporate ladder to notice the growing distance between them, but she's got his attention now. Connor received his wake-up call loud and clear when Lainey left, and there's no way he's giving up on his marriage. If that means dropping everything and trading high-rises for gingerbread houses to sweep his wife off her feet in her hometown, then so be it. This time, he's listening, but it'll take more than hot chocolate dates and even hotter nights to win Lainey back. Can he prove that being a CEO is nowhere near as important as being her husband? So this is a little bit different, right? We're focusing on two people who are actually married and still married. They're not divorced or anything, but in some ways it is a second chance, because our main character Lainey has felt very lonely and disregarded by her husband as he's trying to climb the corporate ladder, and he's starting to realize what is most important to him. So I actually really like the sound of it, and it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more of a mature holiday romance. So this is another one that I could definitely get behind. All right, now we are coming to the end of October 14th releases with the newest release from Lindsay Kelk called Christmas Fling. Laura was all set for a quiet solo Christmas, just her, a bottle of wine, and flat sitting for a stranger. But when the stranger's parents mistake her for his mystery girlfriend, she's swept off to the snowy Scottish Highlands with Callum and his whole family. Between the cozy sleeper train, charming pubs, and breathtaking views, this could be the no-strings-attached Christmas of Laura's dreams. But stranger Callum is hot, hilarious, and their fake chemistry is off the chart. So is this just a Christmas fling or the start of something more? So second chance romances or fake dating are all the rage this holiday season, it appears. Again, that synopsis is not really doing too much for me. It doesn't sound like anything super special or unique, but I do believe I have read a Lindsay Kelk before and I have enjoyed it. So if you enjoy Lindsay Kelk, this might be one to look out for. Moving on into the 21st of October, we finally have some Hanukkah representation. Jean Meltzer typically does write Hanukkah holiday romances, and this one is called The 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah. Evelyn Schwartz has the perfect Hanukkah plan. 8 jam-packed days producing the live-action televised musical of A Christmas Carol. Who needs family when you've got long hours, impossible deadlines, and your dream job? That is, until an accident on set lands her in the medical bay with one of her chronic migraines, and she's shocked to find her ex-husband, David Adler, filling in for the usual studio doctor. It's been 2 years since David walked away from Evelyn and their life in Manhattan, and his ex-wife is still the same workaholic who puts her career before everything else, especially her health. But when Evelyn begins hallucinating ghosts tied to her past heartbreaks, and every single one leads to David, he finds himself spending much more time with her than he anticipated, and denying the still smoldering chemistry between them becomes impossible. As Evelyn revisits her ghosts of Hanukkah past, she and David both begin to wonder if they can have a Hanukkah future. But with a high-stakes production ramping up the pressure on Evelyn and troublesome spirits forcing them both to confront their most difficult shared memories, it might just take a Hanukkah miracle for these two exes to light the flame on their second chance at love. All right, so we have a lot going on there, right? So yet again, another second chance romance, although this is kind of the opposite of the one that we just read, because we have the woman who is the ambitious one putting her career first, and as a result, her husband walked away, but now he is spending a lot of time with her and they're going going to rekindle something, but also this is definitely going to be a retelling of A Christmas Carol, but we have our main character hallucinating ghosts, and I'm sure that she's going to learn her lesson and prioritize what is important. This sounds really, really charming, really sweet. Unfortunately, I didn't have the best luck with the last Jean Melter that I read. It was very, very lackluster and disappointing, so I don't know if I would be willing to give her another chance, but I do really, really like the synopsis of this, and of course, the representation. Most of the holiday romances that we see around this time of year, very much Christmas focused. We've had this one Hanukkah representation, we've had the Yule representation, and that's about it at this point. So love to see the representation, but I don't know if this is one that I would put on my TBR or on my radar, but I do think that it could be a sweet retelling of A Christmas Carol. Okay, so this next one coming out on October 21st is actually already on my TBR simply because of the author who wrote it, and that author is BK Borison. She is coming out with a book called Good Spirits, a magical paranormal holiday romance with an Irish ghost, unexpected connections, and a Christmas Carol twist. Say less. We have a paranormal holiday romance. We're going to have an Irish ghost, which, I mean, yes, please. I really hope that there is a separate audiobook narrator for the Irish ghost. And again, we have another Christmas Carol twist, which I absolutely love the thought of. He's the ghost of Christmas past. She's not exactly Scrooge. Ghost of Christmas past, Nolan Callahan intends to spend his holiday haunting like every other. Get in, get out, return to his otherwise aimless existence as a ghost awaiting the afterlife. But when he's faced with Harriet York, the sweetest assignment he's ever had, he suddenly finds himself waiting for a future. Harriet York has no idea why she's being haunted. She's a good person, or at least she tries to be. People pleaser to her core, she always does what's expected of her. But as she and Nolan begin to examine her past, they discover there are threads that bind them together and realize there might be more to moving on than expected. With the deadline of Christmas Eve fast approaching, will they find the key to their futures and each other's pasts, or will they stay firmly in the present, indulging in their unexpected spirited connections? Filled with magic, mayhem, and cozy holiday charm, the swoony romance is BK Borison's best yet. I haven't actually read that Lovelight Farm series by BK Borison that is so popular. It is definitely on my radar, but what I did read was First Time Caller earlier this year because it was a book of the month selection, and I actually really, really enjoyed it, and it made me intrigued to read more from BK Borison, and I love the sound of this. I really, really do. Will I get to it this year when it's released? I don't know, but I do think that I could make it a priority in December, although December I'm bringing back my advent calendar, which I did last year during Bookmas. It's going to be kind of the same thing. So all of my reads are basically going to be pre-selected for me for the month. So I don't know if I would be able to get to this one, but I am really, really looking forward to getting to it at some point, possibly this time next year. And then the last release that I have for October 21st is A Little Holiday Fling by Farah Heron. There are two things that Ruby Donji loves with her whole entire heart: Christmas and anything to do with the UK. For Ruby, the holiday season means joy, generosity, and warm memories with her late mother. And now she's on the verge of realizing the dream she and her mom always had, moving to England and opening a cozy inn. The only problem, Ruby needs some hotel experience first. Rashid just doesn't get all the holiday hype, but when he meets a woman dragging home a Christmas tree alone from a winter market, he has to offer to help, even if he soon finds Ruby adores all the things he dislikes. When Ruby discovers that Rashid's family owns a luxury boutique hotel in Britain, she offers him a proposition. She'll help him give his young niece an amazing Christmas if he'll facilitate an introduction to his family. As Ruby and Rashid get closer, she realizes that the great big grump loves his large eccentric family fiercely, and when their friendship turns into something more, she's afraid she's falling for someone weeks before she moves across the Atlantic, and she'll soon have to decide which dream she wants to chase. Okay, so that's definitely a little bit different, right? You have a woman who is planning on moving overseas to open a hotel in the UK, and she runs into somebody who could potentially help make that dream come true, but at the same time, she's also falling for this person and what that means for her dreams. Also, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit of like a grumpy sunshine situation, or at least he is a Christmas grump and she is not, and she's going to warm his Grinch heart. So that one definitely sounds really, really cute to me. All right, everyone, we are almost there. We are moving into the final week that I have of releases for October 28th, and I only have 3 to talk with you about here. The first one is Merry Little Kissmas by Lauren Blakely. As a professional matchmaker, my biggest job this holiday season should be simple: find a date for the sexy single dad hockey player, aka my brother's best friend, for his team's fancy Christmas Eve gala. Okay, so we have brother's best friend, we have sports hockey romance. So right there, I know that's going to check a lot of boxes for people. Sure, Rowan's hot as a crackling fire and spicier than a gingerbread man, but he hasn't just sworn off romance. The Christmas hater has made a bet that I can't find him a holiday. What's a matchmaker to do? Win, of course, even if it means fake dating the Grinch myself to get him ready for the real thing. Only these fake dates at Christmas tree farms and hot cocoa competitions in the snowy small town of Evergreen Falls starts to feel a little too real as I get to know the man behind the scowl. Somewhere between kisses under the mistletoe and a snowed-in night in his cabin curled up by the fire, where the stockings aren't the only thing hung, wink wink, I realize I'm in way over my elf-loving head. And when Rowan opens up to me at last about his painful past, I'm determined to give my brother's best friend the holiday he deserves. But what if the only gift I want him to unwrap this season is me? All right, so this book is definitely trope heavy. We have brother's best friend, we have hockey romance. Sounds like like we could have a little bit of a fake dating situation, or at the very least, if she can't find him a date via her matchmaking services, she'll be his date instead, and then it starts to turn into something real. I don't know. I think this is going to be a very, very popular one for a lot of people this holiday season. All right, next on the 28th, we have The Best Christmas Choir Ever by Elizabeth Hribb. Music was everything to professional soprano Charlie Ward until her brother died, leaving her lost in grief. But when her beloved Graham moves into the Glendale retirement village, Charlie is cajoled into temporarily volunteering to direct the community's new choir, their sights set on winning the annual Christmas choir competition. Only the home's activities director happens to be the super cute guy she once spent a hot, hazy, sexy summer with. Julian Guerrero hasn't forgotten Charlie Ward, not even a little. Fortunately, he has his hands full with the lively residents who are determined to win, even if they must twerk their way to victory. Amid mince tarts, gingerbread houses, and Christmas lights, Charlie and Julian must find a way to transform their quirky singing seniors into a sensation. It'll take hard work, it'll take heart, and it'll take just enough holiday magic to surprise everyone. Charlie, most of all. So you're gonna have a little bit of added fun here with a senior Christmas choir, which we all know that senior citizens can be sassy and mischievous and up to no good. So I'm interested to see that dynamic in here in play with the romantic relationship that's going on. So that's another one that sounds like a lot of fun. All right, everyone. And then what should be the last book that I have to talk to you about today for this video is a book called While It Was Snowing by Julia London. All Amy Casey wants for Christmas is to paint. She needs 5 new paintings for the holiday show at her local art gallery, but between her 2 teenage sons, her needy ex-husband, and her overbearing parents, she hardly has any time for herself. Luckily, her best friend has the perfect solution, a vacant family lake house in North Texas, all hers for 2 weeks of distraction-free painting, or so she thought. Turns out professional golfer Harrison Neely also rented the lake house so he can spend the holidays rehabbing the injury that has put his career and life on hold. Despite the booking snafu, both Amy and Harrison, along with Amy's old blind dog and the army of child-sized nutcrackers residing in the living room, agree to share the festive lodging. When an impending snowstorm has the two cozying up by the fire, sparks fly in more ways than one, and they open up to each other, unwrapping secrets and stories they've never shared before. But Harrison is expected back on the tournament circuit after the holidays, and Amy's family needs her. As their departure date looms and her family and his manager press them for answers, they'll have to decide if this December to remember has been a fun holiday fling or if they found a Christmas miracle true love. Okay, so we definitely have that trope of forced proximity. At least in this instance, we have 2 people who are unintentionally sharing the same space. They both rented this cabin. It was double booked essentially, and they've chosen to share it when they didn't really have to. They're both going through their own things. They're going to open it up to each other. They're going to get close. They're going to snuggle by the fire, and it's going to turn into a beautiful relationship. They're going to have to decide whether or not they want to stick with it or not with everything else that they have going on. So yes, a lot of fun tropes that we have here. And we also have a golfer. I don't typically see a lot of golf romances, although it doesn't sound like golf itself is going to be very present in the story. All right, everybody, that's it. We made it. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know this was a long one, but I really hope that if you enjoy a good holiday romance, you were able to get a lot of recommendations to put on your radar for this holiday season. Please comment down below and let me know, out of all of the books that I talked about today, which ones sound the most intriguing to you. Or if you've managed to make it to the end of this video and you are not feeling chatty, of course, leave me some kind of holiday related emoji to let me know that you were here. And as always, if you like this video, or if you just like me, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I typically post 1 to 2 videos a week, and I would love to connect with you in any of those future videos. But if you would prefer to connect with me outside of BookTube, you can always find links to my Goodreads, Instagram, Patreon, and YouTube memberships down below, along with all the books talked about in the video. Until next time, y'all. Bye.